Hello, my name is Mr. Quinn, and I would like to begin by thanking you for taking the time to view our public speaking competition. This year we had three entries, one from OLA, St Mirin and St Brigid's. I must say that the standard of the public speaking that we witnessed was amazing, considering that these young people are still in primary. It was very impressive, not only their delivery, but the content was very thought provoking and inspiring, and they all looked at subjects which are quite current and contemporary, and they gave terrific insight into those subjects. So, thank you to the young people, and thank you to the teachers who supported them in putting these public speeches together.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. My name is Khadija Iqbal, and I am a pupil at Our Lady of the Annunciation Primary. Tonight I am delighted to be able to introduce my fellow Primary 7 classmates, Amy Catherine Miguel. She is going to be talking to you tonight about a very important subject, gender equality. Amy is a very big fan of all sports herself and wishes for more women to take part in sporty things. She says she chose the subject of gender equality because she thinks that women are treated very unfairly compared to men and that something has to be done about it. She says she wants a change in the future for women athletes, that they should get paid more. Amy is very passionate about gender equality because she loves playing different types of sports, especially football, which is usually associated with men and boys. She wants it to become a lot more common for girls to play sports and for sportswomen to get much more of the recognition they deserve. Tonight, Amy is going to be talking to you about women in sports. So please put your hands together and give a very warm welcome to our speaker, Amy Catherine Miguel.
Good afternoon, everyone. If I were to ask you to think of a famous sports person, who would instantly come to mind? My guess is that you thought of a man. Am I right? So, today I'm going to be talking about women in sport, how they are treated unfairly in my opinion, and what we can do about the issue. Personally, I love to play different sports, especially football, which is normally associated with men and boys. Sometimes when I tell people for the first time that I play football, they're surprised, especially when I tell them that I play with other boys. They are even more surprised when I tell them that there are other girls which play football too, and that there is a girls' football league which I play in. I think it is important that there is a change made to make it much more common for girls to play sport and for sportswomen to get much more of the recognition they deserve. In 2019, the US women's team won the World Cup and received a prize of £3.2 million. That's a lot of money, right? Well, what if I were to tell you that the men's World Cup winners won £315 million? That doesn't seem fair to me. It's the same problem for individual players. Arsenal's women's team captain, Steph Houghton, received £70,000 a year in salary and sponsorship in July 2019, which is an amazing level of pay, but it's tiny in comparison to Arsenal's men's team captain at the time, Alexis Sanchez, who is earning £500,000 a week. This just shows how unfair the system is. The men play 90 minutes each match, as do the women, so the question is, why are the women paid less? This doesn't just happen in football, it happens in lots of other sports too, where women play the same sport yet are paid much less than men. Despite this, there are some sports where change has been made and women are paid the same as men. In 1973, Billie Jean King threatened not to go to the US Open if the prize money wasn't the same for women as it was for men. This was a major step at the time, and I think it was a very brave thing to do. As a result of her doing this, women are paid the same as men, and this continues to this day at the US Open. However, not all tennis tournaments pay the same, and it wasn't until 2005 when Venus Williams spoke to the Wimbledon board and demanded that women were paid the same as men. Wimbledon winners are now paid the same regardless whether they are a man or a woman for winning different rounds of the competition. She asked them to think of their wives, daughters and sisters and how they would like them to be treated. I guess that worked the trick. Another way that women are treated differently is that they're not on television anywhere near as much as men. It's been reported that only 7% of total sports coverage is of women. This makes it harder for women to attract sponsorships. A company who sponsor a team or an athlete are looking for someone who has been seen on the television on a regular basis so that their product gets noticed. Therefore, as a female athlete or team, it's harder to get the sponsor money, and so it's harder for the same equipment as the men, and therefore it's harder to improve. In addition, the lack of media coverage also means that girls don't realise the opportunities there are for them in sport, and that it doesn't just have to be a hobby. Sport is also very important to being healthy, and so we should be encouraging more girls and women into sport by giving it the same attention as we give the men's. So how do we do it? Well, we start by giving women the same airtime on radio and television as we give the men's. If we do that, then the sponsor money and awareness of women's sport can increase, and the resources available to the women's athletes will improve. If there is more visibility, then more girls will be aware of what they can achieve and be inspired to join in. After the Women's World Cup, there was a huge uptake in girls playing football. So it does work. How can we inspire the next generation of female athletes unless we show them what they can achieve? Because, as the saying goes, you can't be what you can't see. Thank you.
Well, that brings an end to Amy's speech. Tonight, Amy has told you about the different pay rates for women and men. The difference between how much money women make is really unfair compared to how much money men make. She's also mentioned that only 7% of sports coverage on television is women, and that this is one of the reasons why many women don't participate in sports. Amy hopes the future generations will encourage women to play sports more than people do nowadays. I would like to thank our families and our school for supporting us and taking part in the public speaking competition. I would also like to thank Holyrood Secondary for making all of this possible. Thank you so much and good night.
Hello everyone, my name is Peter and the person to my right is Adam. We are proudly representing St Brigid's Primary School. I have known Adam since Primary 1. I have shared many fantastic experiences with him during my time in St Brigid's Primary School. From the highs of some amazing topics to the lows of having to listen to Mr. Ruth's terrible jokes every single day. Today we're going to discuss with you the pressures that young people face to fit in with their peers and how the qualities that individuals have within them is the most important thing, not what is on the outside. This has always been important, but this should be seen more than ever at this moment in time as our country comes to the terms with the pandemic and looks to rebuild as a brighter, better country. We have seen some extraordinary acts of kindness during the last year, from Captain Sir Tom Mirin raising over £13 million for the NHS charities, Marcus Rashford passionately campaigning for free school meals, to those who may get less publicity for their amazing acts of kindness and generosity, such as Sikh temples preparing hot meals for local families and neighbours buying shopping for individuals who are shielding and unable to go to the shops. Adam will discuss this further and the qualities young people should seek to have. So without further ado, let me introduce you to Adam.
Thank you for that lovely introduction, Peter. Be yourself, because everyone else is taken. Oliver Wilde. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Adam, and I will be talking to you today about the pressure on young people to have to fit in with us in their year group. In these points, I would like you to reflect on the challenge that young people face. I've chosen to speak about this area as this is present to my own experiences, and I've been reading the book Wonder by R.J. Palacio in my class, which has enabled me to reflect on this area further, as it is one of the key themes within this text. Wonder is about a 10-year-old boy, August, born with a facial disfigurement, who is attending school for the first time after being homeschooled for the first few years of his education, and the many challenges he faces during his first year at middle school. From what I've read and experienced, a lot of popular groups in schools are self-conforming. By that I mean their members and the groups as a whole are all very similar. If everyone in these groups is the same, there is no difference in them, no unique personalities, no unique quirks, and there is no unique ideals. In order for the world to be a more interesting place, we need people who are different, who are unique, and who are proud of the person that they are, rather than being a clone of someone else. In Wonder, August, despite looking completely different to the other children, doesn't try to change who he is, despite others in the school initially mocking him for the way he looks. In fact, he uses humour in the book to show he doesn't take himself too seriously. That can be seen on page 179, where August says he agrees with his mum that children of his age are too young to be eating, which is, as he says, kind of a shame, you know, with all those babes who keep throwing themselves at me. Humour and being true to yourself wins people over, and as the book progresses, August gains more trust and more friends by being himself and allowing people to experience his unique personality. I feel that I don't want to change to fit in with others. I would like them to see me for the boy I am, with my unique personality, my unique quirks, and my unique ideals. Those who are popular should be popular, not because they are richer or self-absorbed and say they're better. They should be popular for what they do. They should be popular because they make even the saddest saddle, sailing on the sea of sadness, smile. Make everyone a friend and enjoy everyone's company, no matter how hard it is. They're the lights at the end of the tunnel, and they shine through the darkest midnight. They're the helping hand that cares for even the smallest issue. And that is a hard feat, but it is the most rewarding. In Wonder, there are many quotes from the books which reinforce this message. One of my favourite quotes from the book is, "It's what you've done with your time and how you've chosen to spend your days and whom you've touched this year. That, to me, is the greatest measure of success." This is important to me as I begin to reflect upon my final year in primary school. It's how I've spent my time and those whose lives I've touched. That is the greatest measure of success for me this year. Another quote from Wonder that I love is, "Courage, kindness, friendship, character. These are the qualities that define us as human beings and propel us, on occasion, to greatness." This shows that these qualities are what is important in life, not material riches or possessions or trying to fit in with others, but the qualities we have inside, and try to demonstrate these each day to make the world a brighter place, one person at a time. That is it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for listening and thank you for your time. I hope you agree with me that it's important to be true to yourself and not conform to who other people want you to be. We should all try to be kinder than is necessary, particularly at this challenging time for everyone. I'm going to remind you of that quote from Oliver Wilde. Be yourself, because everyone else is taken.
Thank you, Adam, for that amazing insight about the qualities young people should seek to have. I certainly was able to reflect upon that important message. I would like to finish with my favourite quote from Wonder. "When given the choice between being right and being kind, choose kind." I know that I'll continue to remember this each day as I complete my last few months at St Brigid's and as I begin my journey through Holyrood. Thank you everyone for listening.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
My name is Green, and today I'd like to welcome you all to Holyrood's public speaking competition. Strange times just now, isn't it? Like public speaking from the comfort of your own living room. Sounds a bit ironic, doesn't it? But we'll give it a go and I'm sure we'll be fine. Desperate times call for desperate measures. Anyway, I would like to introduce you all to a good friend of mine. Her name is Hannah Maguire. She's 11 years old and she is fabulous at talking. And she does this a lot. In fact, a lot. Hannah is a major Harry Potter fan and she's always loved anything and everything to do with space. She hates the cold and the rain, she hates rats, and she can't stand lockdown. Hannah and I have known each other since we were 3 years old, and we're both in the same class in the best primary school in Glasgow. That is St Mirin's Primary, of course. But before Hannah starts her speech, I would like to wish her the best of luck. Even though her speech was picked over mine. No hard feelings. No, really. Good luck, Hannah. Today, Hannah has the privilege of telling us all about space. She will tell us some interesting facts and theories about our solar system, our planet, and other planets in our amazing universe. We will learn how we human beings are so lucky to live on our beautiful, wondrous planet Earth. It's been my pleasure to introduce you all to my friend Hannah Maguire, and I'm sure you will enjoy her speech. Thank you for listening. Here's Hannah.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Space is one of mankind's greatest mysteries. The place that runs space explorations is called NASA. Do you already know anything about space? Because today, I'm going to tell you more about space than you've ever known. Ready? The universe is big, but exactly how big is it? To look into this, we need to see some theories. One of them is the bubble theory. This states that we are only one of many universes, each in its own small bubble. And since bubbles make up things like water, that means we could be sitting in an alien's cup of tea. Or they could be sitting in ours. How crazy! The world will end, but when and how will it? Scientists estimate that the sun will eventually burn out, just like any other star, in around 7 to 8 billion years. So the world will end, but how? There are three main theories to this. The Big Bounce, the Big Freeze, and the Big Heat. The Big Bounce states that after the sun explodes, the Earth will explode and a new Earth will come to life. And that will happen over and over again. The Big Freeze states that after the sun explodes, the Earth will freeze, which doesn't sound too good either because we will all be ice cubes. Lastly, the Big Heat states that the Earth will warm up and melt from the Earth's inner core after the sun explodes. All don't sound very pleasant, do they? Becoming an astronaut may seem easy or simple, but it's not, because they have to take wilderness survival training and they need to know how to swim. Why? Well, sometimes on a space mission, the spaceship will crash land in space in places like forests or seas after the mission. The pilots may even have to fight wolves or sharks. Weird, right? The sun is white. How is this, you may ask? Well, the light from the sun travels in waves. These are distorted by the Earth's atmosphere in a process known as Rayleigh scattering. This is what makes the sun appear as a brilliant yellow in the sky, and yet it appears white in space. The colour from the sun distorts in a process known as Rayleigh scattering, and the sun has light that is rainbow colours that shine down through the Earth's atmosphere, and it makes the colours join together to make one colour. No one knows why yellow is overtaking the rest of the colours, but that's what makes the sun appear as a brilliant yellow in the sky. Well, what's spaghettification? I know this sounds like a weird word, one that you might not even use in normal language, but spaghettification is what happens if you get too close to a black hole. Black holes are the remains of giant stars that have exploded. Their gravitational pull is so strong it can pull objects into long, thin strands.
The edge of a black hole is an imaginary line called the event horizon. Spacecrafts can orbit around the event horizon safely, but only if they're flying nearly as fast as the speed of light, which is impossible. If a spacecraft fell into the horizon, the force of the gravity would be so strong that it couldn't escape. The front end would get pulled faster than the back end, so the spacecraft would get drawn out like a strand of spaghetti. Isn't that weird? Now the same thing would happen if a human fell into the horizon. You'd be stretched out into a long thin strand and pulled in. No one knows what's beyond the event horizon because no one has ever came out to tell the tale. Anyways, that's all from me, but before I go, here are some facts that I couldn't put in. First off, 1 million Earths can fit inside the sun. Second, the universe is expanding as I talk, for it used to be a small dot and it's growing larger and larger every day. And the third is Jupiter, Uranus and Neptune all rain diamonds. Thank you for listening. I hope you have a nice day. Goodbye. Bye.
Hello again. I would just like to announce the winners of the competition and the order. Now, I must say that the judges had the difficult job of watching these high quality speeches and then trying to decipher a running order for it. So thank you to the judges for the hard work in that. So without further ado, in third place we have St Mirin. Well done, St Mirins. And that was a really good speech on the universe, so thank you for that. In second place we have OLA with their speech on gender equality. Again, some great insight into a very interesting subject, so thank you for that. And in first place we have St Brigid's with their insight into the characters and traits that are important in dealing with a global pandemic, and this speech was really insightful and I really love some of the key messages coming through in it, particularly the one given the choice between being right and being kind, choose kindness. Great message to live by, and also the courage, kindness, friendship and character. And I think I'll go and read this book, Wonder, because it sounds amazing, it's inspirational. But well done to everyone who took part, and as I said, we were so impressed by the quality of the young people who presented, by their confidence, by their creativity and the way that they put across their message. It was very impressive, and they would not be out of place in a secondary school competition in public speaking. So keep up the good work, guys, and thank you very much for participating.
Hi, my name's Mr Charlick. I'm a maths teacher at Holyrood Secondary School and I also run the Debating Society. So let's have a wee look at your feedback. What was impressive about your speech was everything was very clear and concise. Everything had a nice structure to it. Your language was calm, there wasn't too much emotion in it. So this just allowed the listener to listen fully to what you were saying, and then the quality of your words and your information came across very clear. What also stood out was how well researched the topic was. You could tell that you had interest in it, that personal interest came across, and then you used the research comparing the male and female captains, and then the tennis players and the actions they have taken to get rid of the pay discrepancy. Good use of questions as well, especially at the start in the introduction. That rhetorical question made the audience engage with you straight away, so that was very good. What was very impressive about your speech is you give a solution. A lot of the times speeches just kind of give questions where you give the solution. You give the solution of making sure the female athletes had more exposure more time on the TV, more time on the radio, the same as the males, and then that would help with sponsorship and getting rid of that pay inequality. So that was fantastic. Well done for doing the speech. It must have been very hard doing it on the iPad rather than in person, but hopefully come August, Thursdays after school, we can keep doing public speaking. We can do it in person. Okay, thank you, bye.
Hello, my name is Ms. Longo and I'm the Principal Teacher of Literacy at Holyrood Secondary School. Today I'm very pleased to be giving feedback to the contestants from St Brigid's Primary School, Peter and Adam. Peter provided an excellent introduction to Adam's speech. It was very clearly well rehearsed and well planned and well organized. It really set the stage for what Adam was going to bring. I also really appreciated Peter's use of gestures and making sure he was doing different things to bring the audience into his presentation. In terms of Adam's speech, I thought the selected topic was very appropriate. It was something that's very relevant to us nowadays, and the message was something inspirational that we can all take away. I thought the speech was very well bookended. The introduction with the Oscar Wilde quote and the conclusion brought it all together in a really nice way. So the speech was very well planned, and it was something that was a real strength to the presentation. In addition to that, Adam was using different rhetorical devices throughout, repetition, reference to quotations, rhetorical questions, and all of those were very skillfully used, which helped to really draw the reader in and to engage us in the speech. So all in all, it was fantastic, and it was such an enjoyable speech to listen to, so thank you very much for providing it.
Hello. My name's Mr. Charlick. I'm a maths teacher at Holyrood Secondary, and I also run the Debating Society on a Thursday after school. So the point of this video is just a little bit of feedback for St Mirin's, for Lucy and Hannah. First of all, very well done, because starting this in lockdown and then carrying it out on the iPad, it makes it a little bit more difficult than doing it in person, because you can't kind of feel how the audience is reacting to your speech, and then you can't use that to keep yourself going. So first of all, well done for that. First thing that came across was there was so much energy. Okay, that is the first thing you need to engage people, to get them to interact and to just listen to what you want to say. So with that amount of energy, you could tell the excitement you had of the topic, the interest, it was personal to you, and then that just helps everyone to kind of listen to you, engage, and that was fantastic. That's something that's so natural as well to the both of you. Just make sure you hold on to that, because that's your first thing that gets everyone listening to you. The topic itself was very interesting, choosing something like space because it's so vast, pardon the pun, everyone has an interest there. So because everyone's got an interest, there's something they can relate to. Then you went into so many different facts and interesting things about space. It just showed the personal interest that you have for it. This helped people engage with the topic because they could see your personal interest in it, your personal investment in it. Everything was well researched, every point you made was then explained what that actually meant, so that was very good. So, very well done for your speech. Can't wait to see you next year. And remember, Debating Society, Thursdays after school. Thank you.